Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl here, Lindsay Schoolcraft, and all the way from sunny, beautiful, soggy, hot Perth, Australia. So I'm going to do a little bit of a series called Fanswers, where you guys write in and ask me questions, and I had a really good question that's going to tie in advice. It's going to tie in as advice for the music industry. One of the questions that someone had written me on Twitter, and I'll link my Twitter below, you can ask me questions there, was why I decided to become a solo artist, especially since I was in bands before. So I will tell you my story, and if anywhere along the way you find some really useful advice, please take it. That's what this is here for. I'm doing this YouTube for my fans and anyone else there that wants to hear a story and, you know, take away from it. So here we go. I mentioned in my last video where I talked about the harp that I started at the age of 15, and my dream was to be in a band so badly. So I was very girl power, and I started an all-girl band. We were like a riot girl pop punk band, and we weren't that amazing, but it was 6 years of my life, all my money, my time. We got really far. At the age of 18, I had a sponsorship with Daisy Rock Guitars. At 19, I got a date in Warped Tour, and then again when I was 20 in 2006. If you do the math, you can find out how old I am. Cool. That band went really far, but especially being women, all women, we had multiple different male drummers. Our first drummer was a woman, but she's off. She's a tattoo artist now. But we all grew very, very rapidly, and we all had different ideas of what we wanted to do with music. I grew in the direction of wanting to do gothic rock. One of the other girls wanted to do acoustic stuff, and the other one, who's Val, she's in a very cool punk band, rockabilly punk band called Black Cat Attack. She went off to do that, and that's what she's doing today. And Black Cat Attack is a great band, and go check it out if you're into that. So it was heartbreaking having my first high school band fall apart. I wrote Val a letter and I said, dude, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm sorry. And we didn't talk for a year, but things were falling apart in such a way that everyone was going through some major growing pains at that point in their life. It was hard, definitely. So, you know, I decided to go on, by the way, that band is called Princess Riot, which I thought was pretty rad and edgy at the time. And pretty unique. I've never heard of anyone named that or named it since, so either it means it was really unique or really horrible. I don't know. I developed my second band out of that in the direction of music that I wanted, called Mary and the Black Lamb. And I actually hand-picked a bunch of local musicians that I really wanted to work with. And I did state in the beginning, this is my band, I call the shots, I will pay for everything, I will manage it, you guys just show up and do the work. And everyone was really excited for the first 2 years. We did our first album, which I've redone some songs from, and I will continue to redo those songs from, because, sorry guys, I wrote them, they're mine, and I believe in them, and I want them to be done in a style today that I believe in, and I want them to be part of my solo project, because they mean a lot to me. And so far the guys have been really cool with that. So anyways, it was great. We did well, and then it just fell apart. People changed their mind about what the band meant, and I didn't put my foot down enough in saying, hey guys, this is still the band that I'm investing in and managing, and I kind of call the shots. It was a learning experience, and a lot of cool influences and new music came out, and I hope those guys are doing what they want with their life and they're happy, and I wish nothing but the best for them. But that fell apart, and in the last year of that band, I decided to go solo. It wasn't an easy decision for me, and I knew there'd be some animosity. My sister's a photographer, and I did, at the time, I played the cello. I totally forgot to mention that I played the cello in my last video. Anyways, I sold my harp to buy, I sold my cello to buy my first harp. Wow, that was a total chapter that I missed. Anyways, I did this photo shoot, and it was just me with my cello, and the guys were not happy about it. My sister just used me as a model for a shoot. That was difficult. I was like, wow, if they don't like me just taking a photo without them, that has to do with music. What are they gonna do when they find out I'm going solo? They didn't like it. We had one meeting when I was living with Scott. I'm living with Scott again. Scott was the drummer in Mary and the Black Lamb. He is now my drummer, and we had the same music teacher, and he's also the drum teacher for my partner Dylan. So yeah, a lot of us are like intertwined in that Oshawa music community. Anyways, we had a meeting, and I was in university at the time. They're like everyone showed up with for some reason with their significant others at the house, and they're like, so like, what's happening with Mary and the Black Lamb? And I was exhausted. I just did a 13-hour day at university. Like, I was grumpy. And I said, if you guys want the band to keep going, you guys got to pick up and help me with stuff. But if you guys aren't going to do anything, nothing's going to happen from it. And they all kind of went quiet. It was awkward, and said, I really have to go do my homework and go to bed. And I walked downstairs, and I don't think we've seen much of each other since, and nothing ever happened, and then I never got a hold of me, and that was the breakup of Mary and the Black Lamb, and it was really heartbreaking. But it was for the best. With becoming a solo artist, and I've said this a lot lately, I feel like being a solo artist made me look more available, which is what led me to Cradle of Filth. I feel like if I was still in a band, people wouldn't have thought I was available, and I never would have gotten to Cradle of Filth. With how things are now with social media, you can literally brand yourself as yourself, and you know, I find we can really know the popularity of a band based on like how many likes and follows the lead singer has over the band profile. I know that's like really messed up, but that's just like what has happened. So, you know, you can brand yourself as yourself. You don't necessarily have to be solo. You can still be part of the band. Just make sure you, like, you know, make your own name a brand, which is just the way things are happening these days. So I went off as Lindsay Schoolcraft. I took the last name from the First Nation cousins in my family, because First Nation is like my adopted spiritual belief system. We can have a video about that later if y'all want to know about it. Yeah, band dissipated, went to that. I started doing things on my own, and I'm like, well, I can just hire people as I want. And in the beginning, I did my first EP, and thank you to David Haben, or Daedalus from Daedalus Complex, because he did the orchestral compositions for that for me, and I greatly appreciated that, because that album was pretty much just me singing and playing piano and playing the harp in areas, and that was it. So that was like kind of my resume to further myself, that first EP. And again, I don't know how much longer it's going to be available on my Bandcamp, which I'll link below, so make sure you go grab it, because it is a free download. And it's gone for good. I don't even have any more copies of it. So I have lots of Mary and the Black Lamb CDs. If anybody wants any, let me know. I'm ready to list them online pretty soon. You know, that's what made me available, and I think is what got me to Cradle of Filth, because people knew, oh, she's got a solo project, but like she's not in a band. So very blessed for that reason. Everything, I know the whole everything happens for a reason is kind of an asshole-ish saying sometimes, but even I believe the good and the bad, everything happens to lead up to something greater. And we need to see the pieces in the puzzle. Like, it's the big picture. It's the greater picture of things. You know what I mean? So anyways, greater vision, whatever the heck I'm trying to say. And I'm a little bit itchy right now because it's a little bit sweaty here. Anyways, I'll be okay. I was like dabbing off beads of sweat in the last video. From there, balancing being a solo artist around Cradle of Filth has been very difficult. Cradle of Filth is a very demanding job. You know, and especially with touring and learning the songs and preparing for the live show and keeping my voice in shape, it's a lot. It's so much hard work. So in between Cradle of Filth, I would release music and record it where I could, put it on Bandcamp. Realized that I've never really done merch. I pretty much sold out of all my merch here on this Australian tour, which is just crazy, but I forgot like how much people wanted merch. There's some left over. I'll sell it when I get home, so look out for my big cartel store. Yeah. So, you know, starting 2016, I was contacted by someone who I'm still keeping a secret. It'll be revealed eventually. And we started working on my solo album, and the thing is I am garbage at guitar and drums. I can still play the bass. I played the bass for like 5 years, seriously, in my teens. I can still get by, but oh man, like I need someone to pick up the weight, and this person could pick up that dead weight for me. And they're also a fantastic, like, Grammy Award winning, like, songwriter, and you know, everything. So like they've brought so much to the table, and it was definitely a challenge doing my album around Cradle, but I made it work. It's going to be out this year in 2019, anywhere between the next 3 to 6 months, which is very exciting. I still don't have a release date. I'm sorry, I'm a jerk for that, but it's how things roll. yeah, I mean, I went into Cradle of Filth as a solo artist, so the guys have always known that. And Danny's been very supportive. He did a song with me called Fading Star, which I really need to redo, like the production on that and everything in my mind. The more I'm very jaded, the more I know about production, the more I'm like, oh no, we need to like up our game here, which I will eventually. It's cool. Like I love it. And during my, I'll do another video about like how I did this album, because it was a 2-year process, and like, you know, maybe you can get some advice for that on how to do things on your own if you're in other projects. I don't recommend being in too many projects when you're not really established with a following yet. Focus on one thing and do it really well, and then once you've established yourself, move on to other things, because you'll just overwhelm yourself and you'll never get really good or really establish one thing, and that's just a waste of time in my opinion. I can do multiple things now because music is my full-time job. It has been for quite a few years now, so that's why. But yeah, during the process of this album, I got to hire who I wanted, and like I got some guest vocalists on, and I really got to tell my story, and I really enjoyed writing with this person I wrote this album with. We had like 18 songs at one point. We had to cap it down to like 11, 12 because we were just gonna keep writing together and never finish this album, but it's done now. I did a song, I did a cover, I got approval of the band. It's a huge band. It's like, oh my god, they love my cover. Cool, very blessed. So yeah, and the person I've written this album with is already on board for the second album, and don't worry guys, you'll eventually find out who it is. So things are looking up, and I love being a solo artist, and I recommend being a solo artist for, if you can sing, just sing, and you want to hire people to play instruments, but if you can sing and play an instrument and you want to go solo, do it. Do it. It's great. I love it. I mean, you definitely got to be organized and on top of things and delegate tasks and be like, you know, a boss woman or a boss man, whatever you are, boss trans, boss pan, whatever you are. Do your thing. And it's a lot, and it's stressful, and everything falls on your shoulders. There's still loose ends that I haven't tied up, and there's so much I have to do when I get home to get this album launched around writing for Cradle, writing for Antiqua. But it's always worth it, and I love my solo works. It really helps me dive into my love of pop and rock and gothic new metal. So that's what's to be expected. All right, well anyways guys, thank you so much for joining me today on this video. I hope you learned something. This is why I became a solo artist and why I continue to be a solo artist. It really means a lot that you came here and watched. And if you have any other video suggestions, just contact me on Twitter at LindsRiot, LINDZRIOT, and you can write to me there and let me know anything else you want to hear about. All right, thanks guys, have a good one. I'll see you soon.